Good morning. It's time for workout number 5. Now, before we get started, you might need to pause the video because we need a special piece of equipment today. You need some kind of elevated surface like a chair or a bench because we're going to be doing incline push-ups of 2 different types today. We're also going to be doing dips. So something pretty sturdy. A little coffee table would work well. Sometimes the edge of your couch works. Sometimes it depends on the cushioning. It's a little funky. Um, I have a bench, just a typical workout bench here. So if you're doing this in a gym, that will work dandy. However, if you have a chair that's maybe not so sturdy, I do have one recommendation. Slide it all the way up against a wall so that you can't push it around. Because you'll notice that, like in a push up, for example, the way that I'm pushing is actually kind of pushing this bench that direction. It actually moved just a tiny hair. So just think about that. You don't want to be pushing anything around. You don't want to get hurt. You want to make sure it's secure. So if you have just a small chair or something that you're going to use, put it against the wall with the back against the wall, and that will help a lot and help keep it secure. You can just kind of move over there when it's time to do the stuff on the elevated surface. So let's get this workout going. I like to keep myself true to time here. We're keeping these under 30 minutes. And let's go ahead and get a warm up in. So hamstring and hip flexor circles. 1 foot forward, heel out, 1 foot slightly back. We're going to circle down, sitting back, getting a hamstring stretch. Lift up and push the hips forward so we're lengthening the whole front of our body. Sit back, down, and push. That's it. It's just a big rocking circle, warming up the body. Now today, I didn't tell you what we're working. We are doing another pre-exhaust workout, meaning we are working the small muscles first and the big muscles second so that they are ready to go. We don't need a lot of heavy weight to do them. One more. And switch sides. I'll go toward you. Sit the heel out. We're going to sit and push opposite side. Today we are working our shoulders, our triceps, and our chest. Shoulders, triceps, and chest. You're going to love it. And the small muscles in our legs. Totally forgot about that one. So we're going to borrow some fun stuff from Pilates there. Do one more. Sit back and push. And you could have done them faster or slower than me. That's fine. All right, first round of exercises. You're going to need lighter weight. We're working shoulders and triceps. So our 2 exercises here for shoulders, side raises. Side raises. And you can go wide, or as you get a little bit more fatigued, you can bend those arms in. Make a note to yourself when you decide to bend the elbows, because that does change the leverage. It can change the way it feels. From here, we're going straight into overhead press. Now, you don't need to change the weight. I'm going to, though, because I can lift a little heavier overhead just based on the muscles. So I'm going to switch weight, go to an overhead press. We are making it a little bit more functional. Instead of going directly over our shoulders, we're going to the front just a little bit. And then our last exercise is going to be triceps push-ups. On the bench or incline, you can drop the knees if you need to. We're bringing the elbows to rub the rib cage and back up. Right? We're bringing the elbows to rub the rib cage and push back up. Either one of those options work. So it's in nice and close and push versus wide, which we will do later. So make sure you feel the difference. All right, 3 sets at 2 minutes each. Side raise, overhead press, triceps push-up. Hope that gave you enough time to get everything ready to go. We go in 15 seconds. Grab your weights for side raise and get ready. Begin. 8 to 12. Lifting. We can always stagger stance. I like to save it for overhead press. I like to kind of try this one with my feet side by side. Lifting the chest, allowing the arms to lift. And again, you can do anywhere from 8 to 12. Listen to the weights. If 12 was easy, maybe you'll go heavier next time. If you want, you'll increase the weight for your next exercise, which is the overhead press. We're pushing straight up for 8 to 12. That's it. Again, tiny bit in front of those shoulders, making it functional, making it something that we're really going to need. And after 8 to 12, we go to the bench. Feel free, by the way, if you're going to go to your knees, add a little padding. If not, pop up on those toes. Either one is fine. We're doing 8 to 12 triceps push-ups. And what you can do too is maybe getting to 8 on your toes isn't happening today. So you want to drop to your knees and finish them out. In that case, you'll make a note on your tracker at whatever number. I drop down to my knees to finish out these triceps push-ups. And when you're done, write down all the things. Get ready to go again. Side raise, overhead press, and triceps push-ups. All right, friends, we go in about 30 more seconds. Make sure you write everything down. You can decide how you want to record those triceps push-ups, because chances are those really will be, like, if you're going knees to toes, toes to knees, you might do less and less on your toes each round, and that's okay, so leave room for that. Grab your side raise weight, and round 2 begins now. Lifting, chest is proud. Again, bending those elbows when we need to, but same thing, just be creative in how you're recording this so that you know next time, what do I need to do to stay in progressive overload? Because that is the magic, friends. Getting to the gym every day and picking something up or doing it in your house, like lifting, that is good, but progressive overload is where the magic and the benefits lie. That's why you have a workout tracker. Grab the weights for overhead if you need to change. Don't forget to change. They feel heavier this time around, that's for sure. Push. Nice and strong. And you decide anywhere from 8 to 12. And then you'll move to the bench at the very end for triceps push-ups. Letting those elbows rub your rib cage. Getting a little bit of an incline usually helps. Dropping to the knees when we need to. Press. Getting the backs of our arms nice and strong. And then make your way up. Record. You don't have to stand up. You can record first. Record what you need to record. Moving into our very last set of these 3. Already feeling those arms in a good way, right? I pre-exhaust, to me, I feel like I get a better workout. Switch to a smaller weight again. And I think it's just because I tire out those little muscles. I know it's because I tire out those little muscles first and I get fatigued a little faster. It makes my big muscles work harder. And go. That doesn't mean that I should always do pre-exhaust. Sometimes I need to do traditional and then challenge myself to just lift a heavier weight, right? If I'm not feeling exhausted on those traditional days, or like, I don't want to say exhausted, like not good sleep, but if I'm not feeling like I'm really getting my muscles where they need to be, I need to lift heavier. Maybe I just learned something about myself this morning, who knows? When you're ready, moving into that next exercise, last time through, challenge yourself, really push through. What are we going to do? What are we going to lift for this last one? You're not going to see shoulders again. I mean, they'll come back to haunt us in other ways. They'll help us out with other exercises, but you're not going to see a traditional shoulder exercise again. All right. Okay, moving into our push-ups to finish this round off. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and the time may have gotten a little screwy on this last one because I had something crazy go on with my phone and I had to do a quick edit. So trust me in that you are getting the best that I could do time-wise. Once you're finished with your 8 to 10 triceps push-ups, let me get a couple more. I just got to get a couple more on my toes just to feel good this morning. Nicely done. And then you have 20 seconds remaining. Get that written in on your workout tracker, and I'm going to show you where we're going next. Now for this one, I might scoot this bench over just a hair so that I have a tiny bit more room. Perfect. We're going to be going to the mat. Now we are going to do Pilates inspired small leg workout. Let me show you all your different options. I'm also going to show you the option to add weight on. So what you do to start is you go to the back of the mat, get a nice straight line, elbow down, lift it up. From here, we take our feet to the front corner so we're in a little bit of an angle. Yes, now I like to turn my bottom foot down a little bit just to secure, but you don't have to do that. You can keep it flat. So, pressing through the elbow, lift it up here. We have leg lifts. We have kicks. And then we lower down, laying on our arm, heels come up for clams. We're going to do the right side back to back, the left side back to back, or whatever side you're starting on, you're going to do in a row. You can, if you want, if this is not your first workout, with a straight arm here, adding weight on top. You'll make a note to yourself. All right, and I'll talk to you about some form stuff as we go. We start in 10 seconds. And let's start with the lifts. Lift 8 to 12. Now, here's something that I want you to think about. You know, you're thinking, wow, she looks like really stiff, because sometimes that's what this looks like. Because we're used to seeing people drop and lift to lift the leg. It's not about height. It's about a crease happening right here versus right here. So we're staying nice and strong. We're pressing those ribs away from the mat. So you're lifting up as you go into this. When you're done, you can kick. I like to flex and point. And again, we're keeping ourselves from swaying with the hips. Let me over-exaggerate it for a minute. Sitting back and pushing forward. Sitting back and pushing forward. So you're keeping yourself from doing those sways right here. When you're finished with 8 to 12 of those, we lower down to the mat. Now this is important. Heels come up. Heels come up. And we go 8 to 12 of the lift of the clam. Now here's an option. You can use the rest of the 2 minutes right here in clam. Since you're not making a big move, you're still on the ground. And then you can instead record the number of these that you got through. So that's an option, and I really like that option, but you don't have to. It's 8 to 12. However, you have 30 more seconds if you'd like to really tire out those tiny leg muscles this morning. Lifting, pressing those legs open. All right, and we go in about 10 seconds, so if you want to reset up. All right, we're about to start into set 2. Again, if you want, this is the time when you can add that weight, or maybe you already have. We're starting with the lifts. Lift and lower. Now, I'm not saying that my phone has been haunted this morning, but it has been very weird. It has done weird things 2 times. So this is a very spliced together workout, and I'm doing my best to hold you true to the time, but only you really know. So I do not fault you if you're a little bit off of my time this morning. And if you're with me, it doesn't matter. You're probably off by like maybe 10 seconds. It's not that bad. I've spliced it together. You're still doing great. After you've done 8 to 12 of those lifts, we go right into the kicks, point and flex, except this is usually called flex, and that's point. Oh my goodness gracious. Nicely done. 8 to 12, weight or no weight, pushing the mat away, being sure that you're working through this. That's it. And then we lower down to get into our clams. Now from here, again, we can lay on the arm. We can lay like this with the head if we'd prefer. Bring the knees in, heels up, lift and lower. And again, your option here is right here, lift and lower, press, looking down that body, and squeeze the hip open. Nicely done. Where in the world are we time-wise? Do I even know? I do know we have 30 more seconds. So again, you can decide to stay here the whole time with those clam lifts if you like. All right, when you're done, I want you to record what you're going to record. So remember, with the clams, if you want, you can record just the number that you did. And then we're going to move to the other side. You're just flipping around. We're going to get started in 10 seconds. So if you're still doing the clam shells, make your way over. Press yourself up. And let's go. Lift and lower. Pressing in. Now this is different. Do a check. We're on a new side. Lift the ribs. And here's a little hint for you. So even though, yes, this is the left side or the other side, it's the side that you didn't choose to start with, you can still feel stuff happening in the opposite side because it's pretty tired. So if I were you, I wouldn't always start on the same side. So maybe make a note on your tracker somewhere and move into kicks if you want to. What side you started with today. So did you start with the right side down? The left side down? Do you know? Which one did you do? Press and press. That's it. Forward and through. Kick and push. For clamshells, we can go all the way to the ground. And again, you can lay your head down if you want. I've got like a little clipping in my hair that's making me hold my head in an awkward way there. So I might, what am I doing? Lift here and try not to smash my head down on the ground. So going to those clamshells, our heels are lifted. Oh gosh, I thought my watch wasn't going to work now. Like, what's happening? Why is this conspiring against me this morning? Press and open. Press. That's it. And we go in 20 seconds back to the beginning. So if you need to reset, you decide when that happens. Legs are a little forward. Okay, so they're not back in line with the body. A little forward. Again, if you want, this might be the time to add a weight in. And we go in 10 seconds. Ready? Begin. Lift and lower. Press. And these weights really do make all the difference. Of course, I jumped straight into a 10-pound weight. I would probably maybe do the 5s first, or even smaller, maybe the 3s. You know what you can also do if you have a band at home is you can put a band around the ankles and go here. It even works in kicks. So that's kind of a nice little option. When you're ready, of course, we slide into those kicks. 8 to 12. Push. And then finally, we can go down all the way into the clamshells. Squeeze. Press open. Get those heels up. Now you know the drill. You can stay here for the whole remainder if you want. Or you can make the switch when you want to make the switch. Squeezing and releasing. I'll make sure to tell you when time is up. Staying strong. And you might not even be to clams yet. I kind of hurried through the other ones. You have about 40 seconds left here. So stay in those clamshells for about 40 more seconds. I'm getting myself set up for where we're going next. We're going to move into it. You have 30 more seconds. All right, so you're in the sideline. You can stop and write down when you finish 8 to 12 of each, or you can keep going with those clamshells until the timer runs out. But you have 15 seconds. Final 10. 3, 2, and 1. All right. We have made it to the final burn off here. So here's what you're doing. You're back on your bench or your chair, and you're using it for 2 different exercises: triceps dips and incline push-ups. So this is why I was kind of getting ready over here. I'm going to move that a little to the side. So triceps dips, hands on, hips off, dropping to 90 and pressing. Legs can be in, legs can be out. We can sit on the bench, put our hands on, and bend and press here. Just keep going for 1 minute. Make notes of when you change and what you do. We are going in 10 seconds. And then as we're through here, I'll introduce you to the next thing. Ready, get set, and dip. So again, you have 1 minute. You mark where your feet, are they bent in? Are they extended straight? How many can you do? And maybe you just want to go up, rest at the top. That be your rest. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then continue when you're ready so that you have a nice solid number and you're not having to write, well, I did 10 with my feet in, and I did 10 more with my bottom on and my legs back. Then I did 10 like this. So you can just rest at the top when you want. You can also move right into those lean backs to keep going. Drop and press. Moving there. You've got a full minute. You're going for 20 more seconds. And then you're going directly, after you record your number, into incline push-ups. This time, our push-ups are wide. All right? We're going to use the bench again. We're going to be doing wide push-ups. So when you're ready, record your number, and then you're going to find the bench with me. We're going to set up our hands a little wider than shoulders, and we're dropping down to 90 and back up. When you're ready, let's go. Drop and push. Now again, start on the toes. How many can you get through? How many can you get through on your toes here? Dropping and pushing. Even if it's 1, can you try it today? Then you can drop down to your knees and keep going. And then maybe part the way through, you pop up again and you do a couple on your toes. Record how many you did on your toes and how many you did on your knees. That's going to be what you're recording this round. Good job. Few more seconds. Whoop. Should listen to myself and put this against something a little bit more solid. All right, friends. And 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and stop. Awesome job. Let's stand it up. Now, if you didn't have something wide enough, probably should have addressed this a little bit earlier, but no harm, no foul. We're here. If you don't have something quite wide enough to do those wide push-ups on, you can do them on the ground. That's totally fine. Knees and toes on the ground. A-okay. This is just offering you a little bit of a variation since we've done push-ups before. From here, step behind with the right leg. Take the right arm up and over for a little triceps release and a stretch down the side of the body. And then let's go the other way. Step behind, triceps release, lean just a little bit to get down the side of the body. And release. All right, one of my favorite stretches is called VWLT. One thing I want to make sure that you do, press the chin back just a little bit and down. Double chins here. Obviously, I'm not scared to do it on the camera, so you're okay to do it too. Again, chin back and down just a little bit. Our arms lift into a V. Why keep the chin down and the head back? Because I want you to open up the back of your body with this. Arms make a V. Drop the shoulders down. And then squeeze the elbows down. Still tucking the chin. Pull the shoulders away from the ears for a W. Then for an L. Thumbs up. Pull the hands back a little bit. Keep the head pulling back. Of course, finishing with a T. Thumbs up. Pull the arms back. Drop the thumbs down, pressing away. and relax. And we made it through. After all the camera blips, all the microphone weirdness, we're done. Workout 5 complete. See you back next time.